My ex-husband got me pregnant and refused to take me out of state for a termination, threatening to press charges if I went on my own, but now that the baby is born and I've divorced him, he refuses to be an active parent. This is so messy. My ex-husband, 29M, and I, 28F, originally agreed not to have any children. We live in Texas, and this world just isn't a place I wanted to bring a child into. I also never wanted to be a mother. My IUD failed, and I got pregnant. I was devastated because I wouldn't be able to get a termination since we live in Texas. I wanted to travel out of state to get a termination, and I wanted him to get a vasectomy since I didn't want to risk this happening again. He refused both. He said he wouldn't take me out of state to get a termination, and he made me very scared of criminal charges. He also refused a vasectomy to prevent more children since he didn't want to mutilate himself. Long story short, I filed for divorce a month after the baby was born. It took a little over 2 months for the divorce to be finalized, which was a month ago. The baby is now 4 months old, and the maternity leave that I was lucky enough to have is up. My ex-husband has moved into his own apartment. I live alone in my home that I owned prior to the marriage, which I inherited from my grandparents. My ex-husband has been visiting the baby here and there on weekends but hasn't had the baby overnight ever. I've suggested it, but he refused. To be honest, I don't really like being a mother. The baby and I just haven't bonded much. I've heard that sometimes it takes a while. I've been overwhelmed, and I needed a break. I tried calling him and talking to him about agreeing to a custody situation. He blew me off and said he'd let me know when he finds a weekend that works for him. I was really pissed. I had this baby largely because of him, or I would have gotten a termination. I love my baby, but I don't want to be a full-time mom. I want 50-50. I work from home as a software developer. I'm lucky enough to be able to watch the baby while I work, so I don't have to pay for daycare. But I need time to be productive with my work. So I figure 1 week I can be unproductive while watching my child, and the next week I can work extra hard to make up for it. My job is flexible, so it'll work for me. My ex was dodging my calls, so I took our son in a diaper bag and showed up at my ex's work. He works as a car salesman. He was shocked to see me, and even more shocked when I handed him the baby. I told him, "We're doing 50-50 custody. You have the baby this week. You can drop him off at my house next Monday." He freaked out and said, "Who will watch the baby while I work?" I suggested he pay for daycare if he needs it. He said he can't afford daycare. We argued, and I told him to figure it out. If I have to figure out how to be a mom, he has to figure out how to be a dad. His parents are calling me every name under the damn sun. Meanwhile, they don't want to babysit for him. Am I the jerk here? Edit to add, for all of you suggesting adoption, I tried that while I was pregnant. My ex refused. I couldn't give the baby up for adoption without his permission. Also, I've contacted a lawyer about getting custody formalized, but I haven't heard back. /relevant comments. Downvoted commenter. Everyone sucks here. You all should have never become parents. If you wanted a termination, you could have driven yourself. You need a lawyer, not Reddit. Ops response. You're right. I shouldn't have become a parent. But I was afraid of going to jail, so I chose not to go out of state. Highly upvoted and awarded commenter. Give the poor kid up for adoption, Christ. Ops response. I suggested that while I was pregnant. He said he would never agree to that. I can't do it without his consent. Commenter 3. Then force custody through the court so you can resent the baby less long term. Ops response. I don't resent the baby at all. I resent him. I still want to be a mother to my child at this point, and I'm waiting for the bond to happen. I just don't want to be a single parent. I want him to step up the way I'm stepping up. Commenter 4. This is fake. No family court in the world is going to let a divorce go through without a custody arrangement for the children. Ops response. The baby was a month old when I filed for divorce. We agreed for me to have full custody for the time being because the baby was a newborn and I was on maternity leave. We agreed to revisit it in the next few months. I have since contacted an attorney to do it. Top commenter. So, he doesn't want the baby, but wouldn't allow you to terminate and threatened you with legal action if you did terminate. He doesn't want to look after the baby, but refuses to allow you to adopt the child out. Yeah, you need to speak with a lawyer ASAP. Either he steps up and actually looks after his child a minimum of half the time, or he needs to sign the adoption papers. Does anyone really think that it's in the baby's best interest to grow up with two parents who fight to make the other take him on the regular? Update 1 month later. Less than a day after my last post, I attempted suicide. I took every hidden pain pill I had left over from surgeries, etc., and just went to sleep. If it weren't for my cousin coming to check on how I was doing without the baby, I wouldn't be here today. I spent 16 days in inpatient psych and was diagnosed with PPD and postpartum psychosis. After my Reddit post, I was flooded with comments and DMs telling me what a monster I am for having a child that I didn't originally want. People said that my child would be better off without me, that my ex-husband and I are just going to ruin our child's life. Adoption was something pushed because, to most commenters, there was no way I could ever manage to be a good mother. I had considered adoption at one point, but the time for that had passed. Many people latched onto that as a sign that I shouldn't have my child. The worst part was the DMs. A lot of people outright told me to just kill myself so my child doesn't have to deal with me anymore. Many men said women are just WHRs who don't want to deal with the consequences of sex. Many tried to pressure me into giving them my child. Couples with infertility issues told me that it's not fair that I had a child I didn't want while they're struggling and that my child would be better off with them. There was even one where she started off friendly and helpful, and we chatted for hours, only for her to turn and call me every name in the book when I said I'm not giving her my child. It was all too much. I already felt terrible for just needing a break and some time to myself. It had been a long time since I've so much as showered alone. In inpatient, I met a very kind nurse who told me she struggled with the same things after having her child, and it took a long time to bond. But eventually, everything clicked into place. I'll never forget her. Since getting out, my ex and his family have been quiet and somewhat apologetic. He has agreed to split custody. My ex asked me to pay a small amount toward daycare for his custody time, with his parents also chipping in, and I agreed. He's had the baby since I've been out, as I've been adjusting to some med changes that have been making me feel like I'm in the twilight zone. But he drops the baby off for a few hours at a time, and my cousin is mostly here to help me. Things have been okay, and they're getting better. I've been remorseful, and the thought of my child growing up without a mother has made me sad. I'm in therapy, and I'm trying to do whatever I can to be a better mother. I just needed help. So yeah, my advice to anyone out there who is struggling, go to counseling. Find some kind of group therapy to attend. Reach out to your family. Get psychiatric help if you need it. There are a lot of bad people out there, and the internet is not your friend. I'm glad I'm still here. Other women haven't been as lucky, and there have even been some who have taken their babies with them. If it were up to some people who DM'd me, I'd be dead right now. Editor's note. Op posted a picture of a DM she received the same day she posted the original post. This is the picture transcribed: "You are a crappy person. Deal with the consequences of your crappy choice and woman up and be there for your child. Millions of other mothers raised kids single. Stop being so effing greedy and self-centered and deal with the life you created. Good Lord, I couldn't imagine having a child and not giving a F about them. You are a terrible person. You should terminate your life if you even consider giving that kid up to a life of hell that is adoption." Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I know it's hard, but please ignore the negative people. They don't know you, and they aren't in your shoes. Please focus on getting better so you can decide what's best for you and your baby. Lean on the supportive people in your life and listen to the doctors. Unfortunately, you were found by some of the worst people who can't be bothered to have a shred of decency and empathy. I hope you can come back later with an outcome that's right for you.